Do we know what caregiving is about? A caregiver is a family member or a paid helper who helps to take care of a child or a sick, elderly, disabled person. We have 154 active aging centres, which serves about 53% of the total senior population. We have 31 day activity centres, 10 adult disability homes, and 1,600 childcare centres. And this brings us to today's question. Are we supporting caregivers equally? And how does this affect how we care for Singaporeans in need of help? Today, we have with us Dr. Chen Shi Ling. She is the founder of Happy Hearts Movement and ID Health, which is a clinic that helps to care for adults with intellectual disabilities as well as their caregivers. We also have Koh Sok Ying. She is the mother and caregiver to Ryan, who is an adult child with autism. And we have Paul Kaur, the founder of Actually and Outside, and he is the son and also caregiver to Madam Tay, who has dementia. So thank you so much for joining us here today. We can't wait to hear your thoughts about this. So do you think that we support caregivers equally in Singapore?
An example that I would give would be that I see many elderly with dementia, and I often hear this from their family members, that my siblings are all married and they all have their own families. Yeah. So because I'm single, I'm left to take care of my father or my mother. What strikes you then is the question that do we as a society expect people who are single and unmarried to take care of their aging parents? And if so, then if we see it as a duty, do we then tend to support them less as compared to the support that we may give to married children who take care of their aging parents?
As a son, I'm married, so right now I bear the responsibility. Yeah. It was my sister who told me, "You're the son. You should be the one to take care of your mom."
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a cultural thing to some extent, I suppose.
Like before that, I was, living a bachelor life. When my mom moved here, she was able to walk. She had dementia, but wasn't that bad condition yet. But 5 years later from now, she's bedbound. So the situation has changed quite a lot.
Did you feel like the responsibility felt to you because you were the single?
I don't think it makes any difference. It depends on who wants to do it. Probably someone will be more closer to the parents. Eventually the one who take up the role. In many cases, I think. So thinking back then, I think I would have done it earlier if I had the chance. Right. Yeah, and I told myself I was actually so much happier when my mom lived with me.
My thought is also that how would Ryan, my son, and his siblings feel that eventually when dad and mom are no longer around, somebody needs to take care of him? What would be the impact like for them as well? He does get onto the nerves of his other siblings. And sometimes I do feel so sorry for them. Mei is the one that suffers quite a bit because, her Barbies, the next morning you take up, Barbie has bangs, everything. So he cuts all her Barbie dolls. And some are so unique, precious gifts. And she'll be in tears. And I will spend hours telling her, can you forgive him? I think it's a responsibility as a parent that I need to teach them that to embrace the brothers because of his condition and what he does.
Maybe I can bring this to Dr. Chen, because you have a clinic and you work with adults with intellectual disabilities and their caregivers. Is this a situation that you see very often, and what kind of support could we have in place for that?
Yeah, I think what Sok Ying says really resonated with me, because I think what she said really reminds me of the sandwiched group of caregivers. Her children that she spoke about, who has to take care of their sibling with autism. One day, eventually, when Sok Ying and her husband grow older, they also have to take care of Sok Ying and her husband. And I think they are going to face various different types of challenges when they come to that stage. If someone in the family actually requires caregiving support, I think we have the whole caregiving grant, for example, that the government gives, but it's actually means tested, which means that it actually looks at the household income.
I need to stop you there.
Yeah.
How do you look for all these grants? Because I'm not aware of this grant at all. Okay. This is the first time I hear.
What he says is we don't know what we don't know.
We do have a couple of agencies in Singapore, Agency for Integrated Care, that actually looks more at the elderly population and the caregivers supporting the elderly group, which includes dementia as well. Yeah, and then we also have SG Enable now that actually looks into the disability group as well as the caregivers.
The greatest challenge I see, whether it's for my son, my late aunt, is that there's so much literature to go through. If you are so into the caregiving job, you won't have the time to read through.
I have a friend, and she will always share with us this Dementia Associations Malaysia or something like that. They always organize every fortnightly some sort of Zoom forum, online forum to share with people. Pretty active group. I actually joined one of those sessions before, and the question that people asked, quite amazing. A lot of things that I never thought I would want to know.
Yeah, I think sometimes we don't even think about those caregivers. And when we don't think about them, they are really invisible to us as society.
How do we correct this?
Yeah, I think, with regards to this, the first thing is always awareness, right? Yeah, and education. Yeah, so it's great that, we have this, we have Paul, we have something, willing to talk about caregiving for their loved ones with dementia and with autism. Yeah, but we also need other caregivers, who may not be able to come to us, perhaps to a studio like this, right? But they are giving care to an adult child with intellectual disability in a one-room rental flat, for example.
So I have a question. Does the duty of care disproportionately fall to a certain group of people or certain groups of people?
In my practice and when I see patients, I do see that both daughters and sons, do take care of their parents. But I do find that the role tends to be a little bit different. The daughters, if they take on the caregiver role, they tend to take on the physical caregiver a lot more, Whereas when the sons take on the caregiver role, they tend to take on the more like logistics type of role in which they make arrangements.
I often find that caregivers find it very difficult to speak of their difficulties and very difficult to center themselves in any conversation, and they almost feel selfish to bring anything up. How does this affect their personal lives?
Bringing my mom up, taking care of her, feeding her. To me, it comes naturally. I don't see it as a job. I don't even call it responsibility.
And Suk King, how do you feel?
I'm a mom, so that's my natural instinct to take care of my child. And I suppose if I look at his daily quirks, it does get into me. It's like, like his current obsession of cutting all the labels off the shirt is like, what else can I do to make you understand? So what we often do is actually we celebrate the little achievements that he made. My son is 27. He's not very verbal, so man of few words. And just the other day, I asked him what he wanted for lunch, and his favorite is always fried chicken. But he said chicken, snake, and fries. I said, Ryan, we don't have. You just choose from here. And the funny thing is, this is the first time he ever said to me, Mommy, chicken grab. He actually told me to grab, which is something for 27 years he has never said that. So it is these little things that, that I quickly like, hey, Daddy, come. He asked for grab food. No, shall we grab for him? Because he has never said such things before. So, I'll text to the family chat group. He said, hey, Ryan said that. No. So he said, he's so clever. I think having good support system helps a lot.
So how do you juggle work and caregiving?
Being on the rat race, you typically won't be home till about, earliest is about 8, 9 o'clock. I depended on my domestic helper to actually help me to bring him for all the various classes.
Like, is it possible to ask for leave or to ask for more flexible working times? How are employers with that?
I had this very pleasant experience. It was not for Ryan, but with my third boy. He was 15 months old when he actually fell off the little tykes table. When my son fell, I remember we were in the middle of budgeting, and I was in charge of uploading the budget into the HR system. I called my boss. I said, I'm so sorry. I just cannot come because it's a touch and go situation. And he said, don't worry about it. Leave it for now. Tomorrow, you just send me the file. I'll take care of it. I really appreciated that.
Me as an employer, we also have to do some balancing act with this situation. We usually have staffs who have a pretty similar case like me. He has to take care of his mother, had to take care of his mother in the morning. So we make adjustments such that he can come late, like 1.5 hours late. So he do his thing in the morning, then in the evening his other sibling will take care. So we have that program until he got in a domestic helper.
I think it takes, with an understanding employer, actually it takes away that burden, that at least, if I'm allowed to work from home, at least I can watch my child in case he gets into another fit, I'm there.
It is very tough. I've heard some friends who've been in that situation who had to give up the career to take care of someone. It's very tough.
I mean, I think, for Paul and for Sok Ying, I think they have multiple roles to play in addition to their caregiving roles, right? Including work. On the other hand, there are also individuals who have taken on caregiving for a family member as their only role. Yeah, and I know of a daughter of one of my patients with dementia who actually gave up her career and her social life and everything just to take care of her mom. Yeah, she took care of her mom for 16 years. Yeah, and I remember when her mother died, her daughter came to me and she sobbed and cried and cried and cried. And she said to me, Dr. Chen, nobody will understand. Nobody will understand that I have given my life to my mom and that I had excluded everything else, for my mom. And I really don't know what to do with my life now. Yeah, and I think so therefore, I guess there always needs to be a balance, in all that we do.
The money is very, very stressful.
Yeah.
Taking care of a series like this can be very, very costly.
Yes, that's right.
It's just even a normal routines maintenance to buy the medicines, to buy all the care stuff.
Yeah,
it's quite a lot. In front of my mom always stay positive, in the sense of like, old people, they actually have a feeling, although that they have dementia. When I'm with my mom, I always want to give the energy. Although sometimes I'm very tired, I always want to smile and make her laugh. So even like when I feeding my mom now that she cannot eat herself, right? So when I feed her, I always sing song to her. And every morning when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I come out, "Chào An" in the morning, just to, and then because sometimes she's very sleepy, but I just like "Chào An" show that she, and every when I go to the bathroom, I come back "Chào An" again, because in that mention you cannot remember, right?
I remember once both myself and my husband were overseas working, and when I caught back, I had an aunt to come over and stay during that period that we both were away. And when I caught back, my aunt said, something has happened to Ryan because your helper has left at 4 p.m. with him, and now it's already 7 and they are still not home. So I was frantic. I called her. I couldn't get her, and I was in KL for a meeting, so I had to call my dad, my sisters. I called my in-laws. I said, "Can y'all please, go over and check where it is?" So I remember taking a cab, rushing to the airport, waited for the shuttle. I told her I need to get on the next available shuttle to come back. By which time I almost reached home at about 11, 12, and he's home. And I think till this day, because my son is not very verbal, till this day, it's still stuck in my mind. That had been, and it's still my greatest fear. And I need to balance it because he's 27 now. I need to balance it with the fact that I need to also train him with life skills, that he can be independent enough to, if he's lost, find his way home.
That was such a wonderful discussion. There are so many different perspectives on caregiving, and it was such a privilege to hear yours. Thank you so much for spending your time with us and for showing us so much. You can find out more about this topic by reading these books. We have The Conscious Caregiver by Linda Abbott or The Wide Circumference of Love by Marita Golden. These books are available at your nearest library or the NLB mobile app. If you want to find out more about caregiving or other exciting issues, you can go to our Read to Be Sure website. In the meantime, we would love to know your thoughts. Do you think caregivers are being supported equally? Leave your comments down below. We would love to know. Bye!